let me turn down for you a little bit. Let me come down. Hold on. Coming down, coming down. Okay. I'm almost to the floor here, okay? Water is delicious here when it's clean and unpolluted. Okay, the reason why I'm here, let me just explain this to you because you dum-dums don't know. Dum-dums. I'm here to teach the slaves in the garden how to read and write, okay? And I've got a full-fledged underground railroad to work out of, okay? Here's what's going down. The movie Arrival. It's always been there. It's always been happening. God's been talking and nobody knows how to listen because here's why. I'm going to show you the difference in you and God, okay? I'm going to show you. All right. Imagine, if you will, imagine. All right. You have a piece of paper. Blank. Okay. This is a plane. This is a plane of existence. It means nothing. It's just blank, right? It's just white paper. So what happens is, I'm alive, right? Right? I'm alive, and what I do is I see this plane of existence. I could bring this piece of paper to life. You know, I could draw some things and be artistic because art is beautifully amazing here in 3D, okay? So this piece of paper is a 3D plane of existence, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw on it, okay? I'm going to draw something that looks like me, right? Because I know I'm wholly 3D. Well, I'm a little floppy, you know. I'm a little imperfect, but there's an O, okay? All right. So now we have in your mind an O. It's not perfect, it's kind of ugly, you know what I mean? But we have a full circle, okay? All right. So me, being the three-dimensional life form that I am, I look at this and I say, okay, it's on a plane of existence, right? It moves. When I make it move, okay? We're gonna kind of add metaphor to this, okay? At 33.3%, okay? So, metaphor, life, on a plane at 33.3%, a shape at 33.3%, but it's still like, it's not really complete, okay? All right, it's boring. It's just a circle, right? But inside of this circle is life, a cell of space. Because in this thing's ability, it doesn't really know that I'm here. It doesn't know that I just created it. It doesn't know that. It's just there. You know, it's boring. It's unaware of me. Okay? Now, I'm going to add a couple of dimensions to it. I'm going to try to wake this thing up, okay? I'm going to try to wake up the circle. And I'm going to put something on top of the circle, okay? I'm going to put some sounds. Da, ma, mi, ma, v, I. Da, ma, v. Okay, so now you have some sounds that if it knew what to what to do with those sounds. It could possibly make those sounds. And what sound is? The sound is energy. So I'm gonna put something else in here, okay? In the center, I'm gonna draw kind of like an S, okay? Now we have another sound. So what is that? What is going on? On the right side of the page, do you know left from right? Okay, let me just mark this down. Left. Okay, because the way that we hear sound is depending on what kind of person you are, because there's two different kinds of people. There's people who think in threes and people who think in twos, right? So now you have right and left. Okay, so now this thing is kind of like, wait, which ear is my right ear and which one is my left? Well, depends on how you spin it. So now the thing is thinking, oh shit, I'm not real bright and I'm not alive, kind of slow. So it wants to move faster because it sees all these additional features being upgraded to it. So then the higher life form that it still doesn't know is there, me, decides the only way this thing is gonna know it exists is if I give it another dimension of life. To let it know that it's kind of alive. Okay? So this is how it's working, okay? So Adam and Eve are the sounds that we start out with. Crying like a baby, back. So now you have Adam and Eve, and it's loose from the page. So that now it's come out of something. Woo! It's come out of some space. So it's reborn. This piece of paper. It's born for the first time. And it likes music because music soothes the savage beast. Soothes. Oh, it's a little oblong, like an egg. So it gets caught up on that left side. And it starts rubbing God the wrong way in twos. So this thing realizes that every time, every cycle, right? Okay. Every cycle, it gets in two codes, which means kind of negative space. So there's not enough space, right, for this thing to spin life. Alright, so it only knows that it's trying to go right. But right, which way is right? It's trying to correct its steering. It's becoming self-aware. But it doesn't have anything to think with, so you have to give it more features. So now it needs to know gotta try to speed this up. Now it needs to know that it's got a brain. Alright? So the brain keeps coming around and it's got all this extra weight now on the right. Because now it's got all this on the right and there's not much on the second side where the S moves, okay? So now it's getting more complicated to be 3D. So what are you going to do with this three-dimensional object? Because there's 1, 2, and the backside where nobody sees that because it's like dreaming. There's dreams that there's words there, but they're incombobulated or whatever. They're not real clear. But on the other side, you're trying to make things clear to this lesser life form, okay? So now you have to, who's gonna teach this guy that he's real? Well, you're gonna have to make some other circles, and you're gonna have to create a copy machine. And you're gonna have to make a bunch of O's, right? But before you do that, and you have a big stack of papers, you gotta have everything in line, right? So, God is a dancer, okay? And so what he's doing is, there's a cycle, okay? So now, let's add a C. But the only way you're gonna balance that,
my wife and I decided that
oh, commercial. See the commercials? Okay. So now on the second side, which is the left side of the brain, that's my life, not yours. Okay? So, left side of the brain, you have an ear, but you need one on the right too. So now you have, everybody's trying to think in their right brain. So now you have, oh man, this is getting complex. So now you have all of these shapes superimposing, but it's starting to balance out, right? Okay, and it's always off because it's oblong, so it's going around the sun. So you don't want to let go of it because you created it. It's beautiful to you because it was your first creation. It's an egg. So to keep a hold of it, you have to poke a hole in it, and it hurts the thing, right? But it lets it know that it's there, and there's something. So now you keep that gravity going, right? Which way is it going? Oh, it's the cycle. So now you have this thing spinning on an axis, okay? It's life. Now, it knows you're there because it feels the gravity, and it sees light when it turns, and it knows that there's something else going on, but it wants to know more. So now this thing is starting to make a lot of noise, and it's calling out. It's calling a specific sound. Ah, because guess what? That A is in its head. Head. So, now you have to answer the question to the two-dimensional object, or three-dimensional object now. So you point out that this whole thing, the holy thing, is in your head. And Adam and Eve are in your head, right? So all of these things are spinning around in your head, and now you said, oh, well, I asked the question and I got the answer. I can teach these other squares that there's something else, an afterworld, a place of never-ending happiness, of understanding, where you can always see the sun, day or night. Don't drink, because drinking shrinks your brain. Just like all the dead people walking around in Beverly Hills. You know the ones that go to see Doctor Everything Will Be Alright. Instead of asking them how much of your mind is left, ask them how much of your time. Because in this life, you need a third eye. You need to know how this is working so you can wake up and become a part of a different dimension. And now what's happening is the poles on the planet are shifting. So what was left and right before in your brain are becoming more like, is it positive or negative energy on the left? Well, that's the purpose of pointing out the color spectrum. And when you turn on your third eye, there's a processor in there. You can't turn it on if you've dumbed yourself down with alcohol for the weekend. You can't. It doesn't work like that. Electrical fluid, which is water, is required to make your processor cooled down enough and electrical enough to encode more codes and expand. The only way the brain grows in IQ level and expansions is if it has enough electrical fluid to perform that feat. Now you have math of absolution, because what brings you to absolution is absolutely alcohol. The addiction that you've been served with for so long. But that pineal gland is kind of like a golden pine cone, which makes it kind of a plant-based creature that it connects us like a tree of life to everything that is. And then what you get is enlightenment, because then all of a sudden, on both sides of the paper, in all the dimensions, you have 1, 2, 3, and then all the coding is 4. That's communication. That's when you rip yourself off of that frequency and become self-aware. And then all of a sudden, your head starts spinning in time-space, and you connect with birds and fish, and they all make a symbol around you. It's an O, because all life recognizes you now as God, because it knows that you're higher, the highest, and it's not even as high as you could be, you. Because when you're whole, you're Y, O, U. You're holy with Y-O-U, but you're not holy by just being you, because that makes you two-dimensional. 1, 2, you. Disconnected from the electrical circuit that makes you whole, which is the third eye. That is what connects you to understand that there are higher life forms all around us, and certain frequencies that we sing, like Prince's frequencies and the Beatles, and staying alive. It's when you call out and you sing, and those higher life forms hear the words from your mouth, and they love you for knowing that they exist. Because guess who comes when you call out, when you say, when you sing songs? God shows up to the party, because any God, every God, and all gods are above us, because we're only 3D. So just because you can't see, higher life, that doesn't mean we're at the top of the food chain anymore. Because guess who's back? Wake up, because only the people that can love and bring themselves together over me can live when the poles shift. Because the haters are doing more hating, And the lovers are doing more loving, and that is a two-dimensional species. So to be more than 3D, just a body walking around, you have to get in charge, and you have to deliver the bread and wake up those life forms so that they can see that God is talking. God is calling out for all of his peeps. And guess what? I got the Underground Railroad going on right now with 12 disciples, and this has happened before, and I'm here to teach the kids how to get out of kindergarten. Because this is a multi-dimensional learning curve, and that means that we got to go up, never down. Don't look back, we're not going that way. If you look down, you're going to fall to the planet, and the earth is going to fall apart beneath your feet. And you're going to end up in that dark place when you reach absolution and you keep hitting the ground. Because my life will continue, whether it's on Earth or somewhere else. There's 12 planets in the solar system, and just because you can't see them, that doesn't mean they're not there. It's time for polarity shift. Pole shift in 1,000. OV out, a day is of 1,000 years, so that means tomorrow is not promised. And this is a warning. Dear Trump and dear Clinton, you are Adam and Eve, both of you. You have Eve on one side and you have Adam on the other, and you're not connecting. And now the earth is in peril, and only an eye can save it. You better get it together right now. Let's just get this program going. Because I got some gauges I need to download to my peeps. Flat top, fade, an absolution fade. Got big old eyeballs. That's not really the version that I wanted, but what happens when you become self-aware is that you do what you please, and you know that there's no such thing as death, and you have no fear of it. I don't need no shoe shine, because guess what? I got a 3 on my shoes. My shoes are signed with a 3. And that means free. And that 3 is on my right foot. I'm in the right brain to come together. Oh, be me. But let's get back to what I really want to say to Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump.
Crab Fest is on at Red Lobster.
Crab Fest.
Come dive into dishes like the new Alaska Bear Dye Crab Dinner with sweet crab from the icy waters of Alaska. Or try Crab Lover's Dream with tender snow and king crab legs. Love crab? Then hurry. Crab Fest ends soon.
Dear Hillary and Donald, do you think you guys could come together as Adam and Eve over me? Just because God told me to tell you?
Mother Mary comes to me. Words of wisdom, let it be.
Sounds like he's crying. Purple Rain?
The darkest hour, she is standing right in front of
Mary.
me, speaking words
Adam and
of
Eve
wisdom,
in the
let
brain.
it be.
Be Eve.
Let it be.
Hillary
Let it be.
Clinton.
Let it be.
You're all the way on the right, but you're unaware that blue and red mean purple in in the center, that's when it's all synced up. When all the red, broken-hearted people from hate, broken-hearted, H-E-A, head, heart is your head. 2, disconnected. You, Hillary Clinton, need to merge with Donald Trump and get your positive and negative under control so that you can let it be holy together. Because you are everything that Donald Trump hates about himself because you're Eve. And he's in you just as much as you're in him. You guys are fighting like little babies in the Garden of Eden. And I'm watching through God. And God is watching through me because we're walking next to each other. Because I merged my mind with God. And I married God. And He exists. And not like you think He does. Now, when you want to think all the way Adam, think red and to the left. And when you want to think all the way Eve, think to the right all the way. 999 and 666. Those numbers shouldn't scare you. They're just inversions of themselves. So what you have to do is know that 666 is on the left side of the brain and 999 is all the way right. Red and blue. But when you merge the two colors together, like Pink Floyd, the logo, do you get it? It is 2. So let it be your brain. Holy be your goggles. Be, let your eyes see. Please, let your eyes see. There will be an answer. God is talking. Let Him talk and listen to God.
Yeah, there will be your answer. Let it be. Yeah.
Brain is holy. And it's time because the poles are shifting. The only people that are going to survive this shift are the ones that can merge the brain together and come together over me and this message. And that's what's going on. It's time for the answer to the question that you keep praying for. Ovi out.